Lord of the Mysteries Fire of Destruction chapter name do not read spoilers. And we're back here. Holy shit. Jesus Christ. This volume took too long to finish. More than 1 year. The theft of my mobile phone set everything back a lot, and I learned my lesson that day. I have the foresight now, so if anything happens to this phone again, the account will be safe. Thank you all so much for your patience. Waiting for new chapters after so long without them is the worst. All the readers know that, and I, as one of you, it hurts my soul that you had to wait so long. I made others suffer what I suffered. The abused becomes the abuser, But that is in the past. I will do my best to make the next volume different. But wow, really. Finally, we leave the second volume behind and, with it, Backland. I hope you enjoyed the story and that we can continue together to finish it. As I said, I don't plan to leave this without finishing it, and if, and only if some misfortune prevented me from completing it, I would at least make sure you get a short summary of what would have happened if it had continued. That way, this story would have an ending and not be incomplete. But God willing, that won't happen, and I can finish this. Sad feelings aside, did you enjoy this volume? Honestly, I enjoyed it as much as I suffered writing it. I suffered in the sense that I did a lot more research this time to give a richer story. I hope it showed. I suffered a lot, but I also enjoyed it a lot. The integration with the characters, the fights, a little bit of comedy, but I'm not very good at writing that. I hope you liked it all. What did you like most about this volume? For me, it's easy. Bully Adrian and his interactions with Flora had me throwing and kicking with my feet in the air like a teenager in love. That aside, I was finally able to show one of the differences between Adrian and Klein. That is, of course, his cruelty. Adrian is cruel, there's no doubt about that. One might even say excessively so. He tortures his enemies, knowing full well that he will get the information he seeks faster if he kills them. He may be a bit of a joke, but he is also cruel to his friends. If you don't believe it, just ask Furs, Zio, Klein, Audrey, Alger, Sasha, Charlotte. This cruelty was always present, even in the first volume. And it's not just in his life as Adrian Kenway but in the one before that. He beat a thief so horribly that he sent him to the hospital with multiple broken bones. Ads by PubFuture. Also, we can't forget that how he uses his friends. They may also gain things in the process, but there is no denying that the one who always gains the most is Adrian. Of course, he still has his codes, but who's to say that they can't change in the future? Humans are beings of change, after all. Well, those are spoilers, so what does it matter? I was also able to give more information about the world Adrian is in. Small differences that gradually showed their true faces. Adrian's strangeness, his broken soul, Hunter's Hallow, the divine name of the one who brought him to that world, the heralds, the tower, the mysterious transmigrator, the new entries in Russell's diary. Many things were revealed in plain sight, while others were more discreet. I'm surprised at some of them. In fact, how could you not notice? That aside, with Adrian's arrival, many things changed. Klein's life was one of the most impacted. Not to mention Zio and Furs, not to mention Flora herself. Let's not forget Backland. They really were impacted. Another thing I wanted to talk about was Adrian's promotion. The speed at which he digests the potions is ridiculous. Not even Klein came close to what he's doing. Obviously, I also hope that you had no problem reading the explanation and why that was the case. I have no problem re-explaining if you didn't get it right, just ask and I'll answer. While we are on the subject of potions, I hope it has been noted that Adrian will not have Klein's fortune of getting the formulas. I want him to suffer with that. The formulas are not easy to obtain, and I hope I have demonstrated that in this volume. I'm sure I did, since Adrian had no choice but to consume the raw ingredients. Of course, it was an extreme situation and there was no other option. If it had been any other, he would not have done it. I also hope you like how I'm handling his powers. The power of fire can be overrated, and not much is done with it in terms of creativity, and that always bothered me a lot. Pyrokinesis is by far my favorite power, and I hope that with Adrian, I have shown how powerful and fun it is. We can't forget about the threads. Hope you like how I wrote them and how he used them. On the subject of Circle of Inevitability. Honestly, my life has been busy, and I haven't had time to read it apart from the first volume and the odd spoiler. So, I won't be taking into account what will happen in the book to add to this book. If anything, but just because it looks better, I'll change it a bit. That is, of course, the villain pathway. Going back to what I said before, that means all the rituals will be different. I'll use Reaper's original ritual. It was pretty close to what I had in mind originally, but it made me change a few things. Of course, when the original rituals are revealed, I can already see the problems when new people read this book and see that it is different. Since I first wrote this book in December 2022, I already knew what the high sequence rituals would be. I am going to publish the rituals in the chapter after this one, which will remain in the second volume. I will say this in large print so that you don't spoil yourselves. Don't read the next chapter if you don't want spoilers, don't read it. I will post the rituals for Sequence 3 War Bishop, Sequence 2 Weather Warlock, and Sequence 1 Conqueror there. I don't plan to change those 3 rituals. They are too important to the story, and changing them would force me to change too many things. It would ruin all my future plans, so they will stay as they are. I repeat, do not read the next chapter if you don't want to spoil the story of this book. Do not read it. Skip straight to Volume 3, Chapter 1. Phew. Okay. You can't say I didn't warn you, capiche? Just to make sure, the chapter title will be Do Not Read Spoilers. If you still read it when you didn't want to. Okay, I guess that would be it. I think so. To say goodbye to this volume that lasted so long. Why don't we hear again the words of the little snake? Sequence 3, War Bishop. In a great war, accumulate great merits and make a name for yourself that brings fear to your enemies. In a battle between your battalion, which has to have a minimum of 1,500 soldiers, and another battalion of the same or greater number, engage and kill the enemy battalion leader directly in front of all his troops, breaking their morale and capturing them. The greater the number of soldiers captured and the greater the importance of their leader, the better the ritual's effect. Sequence 2, Weather Warlock. Create a conspiracy against a great existence at its highest point and kill it. The higher the level of the existence, the greater the effects of the ritual. Sequence 1, Conqueror. Conquer a city of over 100,000 inhabitants. Change its history, culture, and faith so that the city's inhabitants revere you and you alone. The harder it was to conquer, the better the effect of the ritual.